Hi everyone. So in this video I'm going to be talking you through using resource tapping to support your recovery and relapse prevention. So I'm going to walk you through how to use it, but it's really important to understand that this is just one of many tools available to you, and it works best when it's used alongside existing healthy coping mechanisms, coping strategies, and any professional support that you already have in place. So it isn't a standalone therapy. So if you are currently working with a support group, such as AA, for example, or with a therapist, please continue to do that. Or if you feel that this is something that you would want to access or you would think would be helpful to you, then please go ahead and reach out to that kind of professional support and have a think about what your options are. So let's have a think about how we're going to incorporate resource tapping into your recovery. And this skill is really helpful in really managing the emotions that might lead to using substances or to relapse. And the emotion that comes up more often than not for a lot of us is anxiety. So really what we're doing here is we're using resource tapping as an alternative coping mechanism, because usually what tends to happen is we feel this anxiety, and that then leads us to pick up the substance, sort of to pick up the alcohol in order to manage that. So with resource tapping, we're going to instead have a think about images that are going to help us feel calm and supported, that are really going to help reduce that anxious feeling. So this could be a peaceful place, either one that you have been to or one that you could imagine, somewhere that you may have visited or read about or even seen in a film. It could be a person or a fictional character who makes you feel safe and calm. It could also be a moment where you have experienced feeling calm yourself, strong, capable, and loved. And really, this is about creating a sense of safety within yourself, a sense of peacefulness and grounding that you can return to again and again. So regular practice of tapping in these states is going to train your nervous system to respond to anxiety in a calm and self-regulated way, rather than panic and substance use. Repeated use of this strategy and any other healthy coping strategy really helps to rewire your brain. So instead of reaching for alcohol and other unhealthy behaviours when anxiety surfaces, you naturally turn to this soothing, self-supportive practice. Now, if you're not sure how to do the bilateral stimulation, the tapping, do have a look back at some of the other videos that I've done. And actually what you will also find is videos that guide you through tapping in some of these places and some of these resources, such as peaceful place, safe place, nurturing figure. We can also use resource tapping to support ourselves and our sobriety by learning how to diffuse urges and triggers and cravings. And the way we do that is the moment that you feel that pull, the moment that you feel that urge to use the substance or drink the alcohol, I want you to pause. Okay, so we stop and we pause and see if you can ask yourself in that moment, what resource do I need right now to support my recovery? Yeah. What would help me feel stronger and more in control in this moment? You know, just the art of stopping before we act creates a big enough gap for us to to make a choice as to how we want to respond, but really going inward. We're going in and we're kind of asking our intuition, what is it that I need right now? And what comes up will be different for everybody, and it might be different each time that you do this. But some examples might be that in that moment you're feeling really alone. Yeah. So perhaps it might be helpful to tap in the presence of a sponsor if you have one, or of a trusted friend, or an inner support team. Yeah. Perhaps you're feeling disconnected, either from yourself or from the world around you. So it might be helpful to bring up memories of connection, where you felt connected either to an individual, a group of people, a community, a tribe as such. It might be a time that you felt connected to an animal, or even moments where you felt connected to nature, or perhaps connected more spiritually, to a spiritual presence, be it a higher power, or a guide, or an inner guide, or an outer guide as such. Some other things that might be helpful to tap in when we're thinking about managing those urges and triggers are memories of when you felt strong, healthy, proud, so have a think back of a moment where actually you acted in a way that demonstrated willpower and strength. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a time to do with alcohol use or substance misuse. It can be in other areas of your life where you actually felt capable and strong. Maybe there are times that you can remember where you felt that you had courage or you acted in a courageous way. You could tap that in. And perhaps also, I wonder if you've got any role models, people in your life, people who you've come across or you see right now, that you look up to. People who inspire you to keep going. You can see if you can really tune into the essence of who they are, what they're like, and you could tap that in as well. And finally, you could also use resource tapping to imagine your ideal future, right? Your future with sustained sobriety. So have a think about what does that look like? What does it look like when you have made the decision to stay sober? Yeah. How does it feel? What do you imagine that would feel like? What positive changes are going to unfold? What will you have in your life that you don't have when you're using? So what we're doing here is by tuning into what we really need and tapping in those supportive, empowering resources, you create a space. Yeah, you create a space between the urge to use and the act of using. And like I said before, you're kind of reclaiming your power here. You are reclaiming your power to choose. And much like anything, practice is key. The more you get used to, and the more you practice kind of pausing, tuning in, what is it that I need right now, and kind of bringing up those resources, tapping those in, the stronger that will become as a practice. And you are actively rewiring your brain as well. So to respond to those urges, to respond to those triggers, and to respond to those emotions in a very different, but more resourceful and healthier way. So let me know if you've got any questions about that. And do check out my other videos to help you along the way.